All right, it is 9 on the dot, so I am going to get started. I just want to say hello to everyone and thank you for joining us today. I'm Matt with PriceFX, the global leader in cloud-native SaaS pricing software. We're joined by two of our valued partners, both SAP and Cognitive, who will co-present today's topic, extending cloud capabilities for SAP software with price optimization. Before I introduce today's speakers, I just wanted to cover a few details. All attendees are able to use the two chat boxes on the bottom right corner. The chat box to the left is visible to all attendees to see, and the chat box with the question mark is where you'll be able to submit any questions for the Q&A that we have towards the end. Today's presentation will also be available on demand as soon as the session has concluded, so if you have to drop off early, no worries. This will be made available for you as well as your colleagues to come back and visit later. So I would like to get started by introducing our speakers. First, we have Nick Vervoet, Head of North American Partner Solution Center at SAP, who will be covering SAP's partner ecosystem and the opportunities that are available to SAP clients when working with their partners. Next, we'll have Garth Hall, the Global Director of Solutions of PriceFX, who will share how SAP clients can extend that usability of their software with price optimization to increase profits while reducing effort and risk. And lastly, we'll have Stacy Wenzel, Customer Success Manager at Cognitive, who will cover how you can get started rapidly with their certified pre-built integration for SAP customers, enjoying faster time to value and lower total cost of ownership. She'll also be joined by Tapos Sahunkan, SAP CX and PriceFX Practice Lead at Cognitive, who will be participating during the Q&A session as well. So with that, I would like to get things started and pass it over to Nick Vervoet to get things started.
Thank you very much, Matt, and good morning and welcome everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to the call. Before we actually get into looking at the solutions that we're going to be talking about later in this session this morning, I want to provide some information on extensibility and what SAP's view on that is, our strategy and how we've been dealing with that over the past decades and how we will be dealing with it going forward. And to start it off, I want to share some insight into what I think a lot of you on the call have been going through or have been doing in the past decades, and a lot of the people out there in the SAP community have been experiencing. So what we're looking at here is basically a challenge that most of business solution customers are facing when they deploy a new solution, and it is that a solution that comes out of the box rarely to never solves all of the issues that you have or has the capabilities to solve all of the issues that you have, which is why we start looking into enhancing those solutions and the capabilities to enhance them as well when you make your selections and how those enhancements are being done. And what we've seen over the past 40 plus years that SAP has been in business is that a lot of the consultants out there, and I can consider myself one of them as well, so I'm guilty to the same fault here, is that we've been building capabilities that customers wanted to have right inside the solution that the software provider like SAP, but also others, were selling and making available to their customer base. And that has basically created a longer-term problem because the capabilities that are being built into those solutions outside of what comes standard out of the box are potentially a risk for upgradability, making sure that you are still going to be able to enhance security fixes and other quality enhancement packs that you need in your systems, as well as overloading the workload when you do want to upgrade, because you have to reevaluate all of those additional capabilities that you now have within that system. What we do see today in a lot of the exercises that we're doing with customers, looking at their current environments, making sure that they can get to the newest and latest and greatest releases of what SAP is putting out there in the market, we often see that close to 80% of all the stuff that was built in and created additionally over time, sometimes we're talking multiple decades here, since the initial start of the use of a solution till where you've come today, that a lot of that additional capability, that additional code that has been built in, is no longer used and doesn't serve any purpose anymore, but you're still dragging it along from upgrade to upgrade, and it's basically slowing you down or putting you in a position where it becomes nearly impossible to upgrade, or makes it very, very cumbersome and a significant undertaking. So what we've been doing at SAP over the past, I should say, about a decade now, is actually revising that whole mechanism in how we deal with that. And we've baked that into a reiteration or a update of SAP's strategy and strategic vision going forward. With releasing capabilities that you can see on the bottom of this slide within what we call the business technology platform environment. So we have basically, in the way that we are building our own standard solutions today, and that we are providing capabilities to the SAP ecosystem to build additional capabilities, is through a technology platform where we have the integration and the extension capabilities on that platform to be able to build additional functions, additional niche needs outside of the core solution, make them interoperable with the multiple solutions that SAP is offering, whether they are on-premise or cloud, through a platform that actually sits in the cloud. And so the business technology platform provides that environment to do the four big pillars that you see on the bottom of the slide here: provide that database and data management environment, provide analytics capability across the solutions, whether they are intelligence suite solutions or industry cloud capabilities, the application development and integration set of technologies and capabilities, and the intelligent technologies for automation, for instance, that are available on that same business technology platform. And so SAP is building our own application set that we put out there in the market on that technology platform, where through those applications we are uniting or building the business process capabilities that we want to offer end-to-end to our customers, and in interconnectivity with the business network, so you can communicate with other suppliers and with customers through that network. So SAP has been overhauling the own way of developing capabilities going forward. Yeah, everything is going to be on that technology platform that interoperates with all of the standard solutions. And so basically we are taking or keeping the core of the solution clean going forward. So where SAP is innovating in the core, it's going to be much easier to consume those innovations as a customer going forward. Now, when we look a little bit deeper into, or zoom a little bit deeper into what is in that technology platform, and in particular in the application development and integration environment, then we're basically providing the capabilities there around three big pillars: the digital experience for our consumers of our capabilities or solutions, the digital process automation, so it's a seamless integration into an end-to-end process chain between standard SAP functionality or capability and additional third-party capabilities, and development efficiency with strict adherence to particular rules, which makes it towards future upgrades a no-brainer, basically, that things will still work in the future and that you're not going to disrupt innovation processes or innovation consumption down the line in the future. And for that, we have that multi-cloud foundation of the technology platform, where we do provide those best run practices and guidelines for whoever is building additional capabilities. Enterprise-grade intelligent technologies, so IRPA, conversational UI engines, they are all available also on that platform to be able to integrate them into additional capability built as well, and ready-to-use business services and applications that SAP is providing out of the box that you can then integrate and connect with. Now, I mentioned that SAP has come a long way, and that we've been going through an evolutional cycle in making this available and making this enterprise-grade level and cover all of the capabilities that we think it needs to cover. And so there's been quite some evolution in what SAP had available and what our vision was and how we were executing towards that vision. Now, there is, of course, analyst organizations like Gartner and others that look at those capabilities and those solutions on a regular basis. And I want to share with you on this slide the most recent Gartner Magic Quadrant for enterprise integration platform as a service, and enterprise intelligence platform as a service, where you can actually see that SAP is in the leader quadrant right now, right in the middle there. So there's still some room for improvement around completeness of vision and our ability to execute against that vision. But we've made a big jump, especially on the executional side, compared to last year's report and evaluation of Gartner of this market, where the rest that you can actually detect in the leader quadrant on the top right corner there has actually been staying in the same position since last year's report. So SAP has made some significant improvements in what is available and what we are providing out of the box in terms of integration and application development capabilities to our partner community and ecosystem like Cognitus and PriceFX. And with that, I am going to hand it over for more detail on what the solution that we want to talk about today actually entails. Arthur, are you there? You should be able to hear us. You are on mute.
Hi,
Arthur, I think we can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear? Yeah. Can you hear me? That's the catchphrase of 2020. So hopefully we'll get to next year and won't have to hear that ever again. Thanks. This is Garth over at PriceFX. Appreciate everybody joining this webinar or viewing this recording. What I'd like to talk about now is taking a 360-degree view of profitability. On a broader sense here, what I'd really like to talk about are a couple of key things, though. It's kind of thinking about digital transformation. There are so many companies that are in the SAP sphere, if I can say, that are really thinking about how to go through digital transformation projects and how to effectively extend their capabilities. And so what I'd like to do is help outline the kinds of problems that we typically see in the sorts of solutions that we can provide that help extend the significant investment that so many companies have made into SAP, whether it's kind of your CRM or ERP, ECC or S/4HANA, heading that route to the cloud, Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, any of these applications. But before I get into some of those details, I just wanted to set the stage. The question you might be asking is, well, let's just get right to this. Why should I care? You should care because pricing is the most powerful profit lever that any business has. The reason why you want to extend your current SAP capabilities and to leverage your digital transformation projects to focus on pricing is because, for example, Gartner research has shown that a margin improvement project of even just 500 basis points or more, they're not uncommon. And revenue improvement due to this kind of increased visibility, increased management and realization of pricing can actually lead to larger improvements, anywhere from 2 to 4%. Those kinds of numbers are quite attainable. So when you think of the chart here that's in the middle of the slide, it's essentially showing you what the impact is of a 1% improvement in each of these areas. So if you think of a 1% improvement based on fixed cost, volume, or variable cost, can give you an improvement anywhere from maybe a 2% to 6 to 8% in any one of these categories. Pricing has been found to be really the one that's most leveraged. A 1% improvement can lead to an 11% improvement in bottom line profitability. And so that's why it's so important to focus on leveraging those investments you've already made within your SAP tool set in order to improve those pricing components within your business. Kind of thinking of those areas of improvement possibility or extension of capability, kind of thinking about PriceFX as this cloud native application that provides a 360-degree view of pricing from optimization management and also from kind of more of a CPQ environment. I'd like to talk further about insights management and realization. And so extending your investment in SAP in order to improve business insight is really critical. And I'll focus really around two modules, Price Analyzer and Price Optimizer. What those are going to do is give you more really actionable price intelligence and recommendations in your process. It's all about visibility and improvement there. The second key area is really focusing on management. So when we think about price management, it's focusing on modules like Price Builder and Promotion Manager. What those allow you to do is really activate those insights. It gives you flexibility around price setting and strategy. And then lastly, around realization. So being able to actually take action on those insights and on those strategies to be able to deliver results utilizing modules like Quote Configurator, Rebate Manager, and Channel Manager. Now, when we think specifically around insights, the area that we're talking about, again, is around analytics and optimization. And in the issues that you'll see your customers or SAP users will typically find is just the need to have better visibility into elements of their pricing waterfall. We have an example of this on the screen here. So if you're thinking of what elements from strategy or cost recovery elements go into building up to a list price and managing those effectively, all the way to understanding your on-invoice discounting, things like discounts or promotions, contractual price agreements, to your off-invoice discounting, thinking of things like payment terms and rebates, including ship and debit and cost recovery elements all through the waterfall. Being able to have granular visibility into all those elements of the waterfall, including other details around having inline analytics from scatter plots, price volume mix analysis, time series, and other elements help you really fully understand the opportunity for individual customers or categories within your portfolio. So there's an enormous opportunity here to really unlock the data that you have within your current systems, within your cloud ERPs or CRM systems to provide visibility. But then also to take the next step from an optimization perspective, there's often money being left on the table by not understanding the true opportunity in order to price for the marketplace, in terms of be able to understand where the willingness to pay is within a given customer segment. So PriceFX with our Price Optimizer allows you to create these kinds of machine learning modules to segment your business and to optimize pricing. It can help you calculate willingness to pay or elasticity depending on which metrics make the most sense, and even identify areas where you can implement cross-sell and upsell opportunities. Think of really a couple of key categories where optimization can really help you is number one, just understanding your business from a segmentation perspective, but then leveraging that in order to understand where I'm seeing underperformance and raising prices strategically to manage willingness to pay. There's an enormous opportunity just in that. But also think of other areas where I can understand cross-sell and upsell. What additional products should I be able to sell to customers that they're maybe not considering today based on propensity to purchase, or even looking at potential risks around purchase patterns or other areas within my business. Being able to use optimization to understand those elements can have a really tremendous upside in your business. And then lastly, presenting that kind of information in a usable format into a quoting environment is extremely powerful. Now, number two, focusing on price management. The idea here is we look at elements like Price Builder or Promotion Manager. We're starting to think about acting more strategically within our business. A lot of enterprise applications, including SAP, have a lot of advantages, but what PriceFX is able to do is to increase your speed and reliability of price changes and price strategy setting. So when you think of Price Builder, it allows you to quickly and easily set up your really three things: is your pricing strategies, the kinds of elements from margin adjustments or other kinds of value adjustments or cost recovery elements that you're building up to a list price, and then be able to actively manage those in a way in terms of quickly passing on cost changes or other pricing strategy changes, to sequence that into a calculation logic that at the end of the day is utilized to drive pricing changes, so that your pricing condition record tables, your customer specific pricing is always 100% up to date, in terms of having that real time connection, and any elements from third party systems that drive pricing automatically coming into the system. Going over to Promotion Manager, it's really two key things that you want to think about. From promotions, you can think of these as short-term promotions around special pricing agreements or sales and marketing promotions, or more around long-term contractual agreements. And there's typically a lot of errors that can occur as these are created. A lot of companies we see will still utilize Excel for these kinds of things. So being able to easily define SPAs or special pricing agreements, deviated pricing, that's something a lot of companies struggle with, particularly when you're trying to identify more than just individual customers, but utilizing this for buying groups or GPOs, applying this to specific categories of products, and being able to do this in really a complex and meaningful way. There's an enormous opportunity, again, to just be better and more targeted around generating special pricing agreements and promotions, but also thinking back to analytics as being able to have our inline analytics as we're generating these programs to understand where the right opportunities are and to be able to calculate ROI going full circle. And last but certainly not least, focusing on things like your realization around pricing. And we'll talk about a couple of modules around channel management and rebate manager, and then around quote configurator as well. So when we think about rebates and channel management, this gets into your off-invoice discounting, the ability to create rebate programs in a really effective and efficient way, so that you're not having to present discounting into the marketplace, but incentivizing people for, or rewarding people for, specific growth around volume or dollar growth programs. But more than that, what a lot of companies will struggle with is just maintaining the accruals and the payout records, a lot of the behind the scenes action. So in addition to creating these programs that are highly strategic into your marketplace, being able to have a keen eye in terms of understanding exactly where you are on accruals and payouts, not just from a finance perspective, but also from a sales perspective, understanding as you're talking to your customer what the next level sales is. So if I can move a little bit of additional volume, it'll be a win-win. They can actually achieve their next rebate level. But taking that full circle using Channel Manager, or sometimes called claims or ship and debit, in those cases where you're requiring the end customer to submit claims information in order to claim a special price agreement or a rebate that they're entitled to, there's again a tremendous amount of cost savings and automation benefit to utilizing Channel Manager to automate the receival and processing of those kinds of claims materials. So lastly, just quickly, I wanted to talk about Quote Configurator. And the reason why this is in the realized category is this is the tool that the sales reps are typically using, or deal desk managers, and it brings so many elements of price FX together in one place. What you're allowing, for example, the account executive or the sales team to do is to be able to develop these different kinds of proposals or bids that take advantage of the optimized pricing guidance from our optimizer tool, that take advantage of the rules-based pricing from Price Manager or Price Builder, and also using elements around rebates, around promotions, and making sure all of that information is in one consolidated dashboard. So as the sales rep is creating a proposal, they understand clearly what the optimized pricing guidance should be, so they can go for maximizing margin and volume, so they can understand from a governance perspective what's allowed and not allowed in order to move a quote or proposal forward. And then, of course, being able to integrate into the CRM environment, so C4C or into a Sales Cloud environment, the ability to integrate very deeply into those applications. So there's a very low level of change management requirements, but a lot of power in terms of faster turnaround around quotes, higher margin, higher revenue proposals that are accepted, and just more efficient time spent by the sales team. So wrapping up, we'll talk about two slides that aren't specific about the PriceFX product, but I think are really important to the audience here that frankly I want to brag about a little bit, I guess, is we saw a little bit earlier in the presentation some materials, I think, from Gartner or these analyst agencies. For those people that may not be as familiar with the G2 crowd, it's essentially the same concept as Gartner, but it really focuses more specifically on voice of the customer in terms of how they manage their evaluations of companies. And PriceFX is really proud to be really tops in all categories, particularly in reference to the 2020 fall report. So an overall leader, a leader in enterprise, the trending pricing software being the momentum leader, and then being the application that users really love the most. And what we've been able to do is, for an enterprise grade leader, we've had the top score in 9 out of 10 categories. And some of them, well, they're all quite important, but just focusing on the top one, when we talk about fastest average ROI, that's so important in terms of any kinds of transformation or IT project. So being able to have the biggest benefit to your customer, the biggest leverage for your investment in SAP, but the fastest turnaround on that ROI and the highest ROI is something that's really important. In addition to thinking about other elements around the best flexibility, the most scalable application out there, and of course, then it ends up being most recommended to a friend or colleague, which is why we get the designation of users loving us. And so, just in closing out, of course, I do want to talk a little bit about the SAP relationship between PriceFX and SAP. And we absolutely do love our partners at SAP and all of the SAP customers, and work with them on a daily basis. And over the last couple of years, we'd had some really great success in terms of partnership around our Gold partnership in 2019, becoming an endorsed app in 2020. So in terms of working with that select team of applications within the endorsed app and certified program there, we're quite proud of that. And then also being included as an SAP Pinnacle Award finalist. It really gets to our commitment to the SAP ecosystem, in our interest in supporting and extending the capabilities within SAP, especially in the cloud environment, being an endorsed app, and being able to leverage pricing really effectively. Which I think, as we hand it over to the next presenter and our friends over at Cognitus, I expect we'll talk a little bit more, not only about the SAP partnership, but also being able to extend those capabilities in some really smart ways through integration. So handing it over to you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Garth. So hello, everyone. This is Stacy Wenzel with Cognitus. What I really like to focus on today is how Cognitus Enterprise Package seamlessly integrates with PriceFX and SAP. So capitalizing on the points from both Nick and Garth. So with that being said, Cognitus Price Intelligence, Rebates, and Channel Management powered by PriceFX provides a single source for front-end and back-end discounts with access to real-time data across all sales channels. It also brings together the power of SAP S/4HANA, C/4HANA Sales and Commerce Cloud, embedded integration with PriceFX, as well as harmonization with SAP Fiori and the connectivity of the SAP Cloud Platform, tying together to form an extraordinary package. So being an SAP certified PriceFX integrator, Cognitus has developed an expertise to build the first enterprise package integrating PriceFX and SAP. So this allows SAP users to supercharge their digital transformation with price optimization by looking to SAP's partner network for an endorsed certified solution that also integrates seamlessly into the current workflows and processes. In addition to that, it's also a strong open platform integration capabilities, having an endorsed solution with pre-built and certifies integration, which simplifies everyday use. So based on different customer requirements, Cognitus pre-built solutions can deliver and tailor those to meet your needs based on with minimal effort. So here we'll showcase how we've integrated PriceFX with SAP, and this just highlights the SAP Fiori Launchpad. So this allows users to have a consistent, harmonized user experience, which allows you access to both SAP and PriceFX applications from the same platform. So our applications, again, are embedded seamlessly with our SAP and PriceFX, extending functionality, which gives users flexibility to real-time pricing and ERP data without replicating the data on both platforms, basically making it easy for your users on a day-to-day basis. So this is just a sample of the landing page of the Fiori Launchpad. So for example, you can see there's 4 tiles highlighted at the top where users, based on your authorization, can see based on their PriceFX related applications. So the first 3 tiles actually takes the user to the respective PriceFX partition within the Fiori Launchpad. And then you can see on the last tile, it's actually a custom application. So with the custom application, this actually gives PriceFX quote approvers the ability to detail and view the details of the pending approval quotes, access to real-time view of the customers, which then again allows them to approve or deny a specific quote. So moving to the next screenshot, and this you'll see this basically just kind of gives you a highlight of the list of quotes that require either your approval or denial. So again, this gives you full access to everything you need, with the capability to, again, approve or deny them simply by clicking, the check mark or the X on the right-hand side. And you can also drill down. So by clicking on the customer ID, it gives you a 360-degree view of the customer data, which comes directly from SAP. Or you can also click on the quote ID, which will drill down into the detailed section directly into PriceFX. So again, this represents the different, 360-degree view that you get of the quoted customer, allowing users to see the real-time data from SAP and from the back end. And it also provides the visibility to the customer detailed information. So revenue, margin trends, year-to-date transactions. So it really gives you a great holistic view from both an SAP and a PriceFX perspective. So as previously mentioned, if you drill down to select a quote ID, the system will directly take you into the quote detail page in PriceFX, which you can see now on your screen. So the user, again, you're not required to log into PriceFX application in order to see those details of the quote. Everything the user needs to do can be done from the same screen, and it will navigate seamlessly between the different platforms. And again, in order to approve or deny a quote from this screen, you can click on the check mark or the cross in the last column on the right, as indicated before, and then you'll get this pop-up, right? And it'll appear so you can enter a reason to approve or deny the quote. That way, it's a holistic view from your corporation perspective, so everyone can understand, the process flow and how everything is flowing together. And our integration on the front end is not only pulling data from PriceFX, as you can see, we're also pushing data into PriceFX from SAP front end. So this just demonstrates, again, the strong bi-directional integration between SAP and PriceFX that we have built into the enterprise package. So with that being said, this is just an example of some of the package sizes or t-shirt sizing, if you will, that we've created from a Cognitus standpoint, small, medium, large. So, and again, the benefits of a partner qualified package is, yes, we're giving you predefined outcome. It isn't a fixed effort, timeline, and cost, which just simply reduces risk to your company's investment and, as well as resource commitment, timing, right? So it just allows you to have more of a holistic view of what to plan for from a planning standpoint. So if there's not any questions with that, I will turn it over back to you, Matt.
Great. Thank you so much, Stacy, as well as to Nick and Garth for that in-depth overview. So for our attendees, this is the time to drop some questions in the comment or question box, and we'd be more than happy to answer it. It looks like we have sufficient time. I've already seen a few come in, so I'll start to ask, and please feel free to drop more in as we answer these questions. So let's get started. In terms of the implementation, how long does this usually take? It was mentioned that it's pre-built and fast, but is there a number in terms of when the user could expect or see value from PriceFX and its integration with SAP?
Yeah, sure. So this is Garth. I can kick this one off, and if anybody else wants to jump in as well from the Cognitus side or elsewhere, it'd be good to get another point of view. So this really gets back to that ROI, speed of implementation question. So when we think about PriceFX, we definitely do focus on our F words from a marketing perspective. Fast and flexible, friendly would be the third one. From an implementation perspective, of course, like anything from a digital transformation IT project, it does depend on the scoping. But you're really talking, in terms of weeks to months, not months to years. These aren't multi-year implementations or even year-long implementations or transformation projects. It's not uncommon for us to be able to deliver an implementation project in a 3 to 4 month time frame for a specified statement of work. We typically see anywhere from 3 to 4 modules as being a first phase that goes through there. So it's certainly achievable to be able to see benefits and integrations, benefits from the software number one, and then of course integrations, via our platform manager to a CRM or to a Sales Cloud or CRM application, to an ERP system, to ECC HANA, or to a Commerce Cloud application as part of that implementation. And kind of open it up to anybody else if they wanted to build on that.
Yeah, absolutely, Gar. So I definitely agree with you. And another part I think to add, right? So the methodology, we really base it around rolling out the functionality in sprints, right? So you don't have to wait until you go live to see the full functionality in the system and for the users to be able to, dig in and get their hands dirty, right? So you see the return of the power of the beast itself, I guess, if you will, in a faster turnaround than a typical implementation you would see.
Great. Thank you, Garth and Stacy. For the next question, is the functionality for PriceFX's software outside of SAP, or can it all be done within the SAP instance? It looks like CPQ is done within the SAP platform, but for the price optimization and management portion of that, can you explain how that interacts and works with SAP software in terms of, are you able to do optimization and management within SAP, or and how that works with the SAP platform?
Okay, so this is Taposh Shadukhan. Currently, our Fury apps, we have integrated only with the promotion manager, the code configurator, and the price builder. And also, we do have some custom tiles app that integrates with code configurator. We haven't done anything with that price optimizer yet. So that's something we can definitely look into that.
Yeah, I would just say when we're talking about integration more generally, pretty much every implementation of PriceFX will include a via the platform manager an integration to an SAP ERP instance, to CRM if that's needed, potentially to other applications like I mentioned, kind of in the Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Commerce Cloud. Whatever is required, depending on whether somebody's a manufacturer, distributor, services, and retail. There could be different types of applications that are more important than the other. But the point is, regardless, there's always this bidirectional exchange where the SAP system tends to be the system of record, where I think of PriceFX as the system of action, where we're consuming things like transaction data, customer master, product master, that's utilized for effective analytics, effective price setting. And even that would serve as the elements of optimization. So any of the attributes that are potentially being utilized to develop a segmentation, many of those would be direct data elements or attributes that are being sourced from a variety of SAP systems, or could be derived attributes that are kind of derived from a combination of elements that are coming there. But just one last thing to wrap up on this question or topic is, as we're thinking about integration as well, is just to build on that comment around the Fiori component. PriceFX is, again, we're very proud to be, a cloud native application. In the way that PriceFX has been architected is, kind of using this headless architecture concept. So what that means is we are able to easily integrate, in more of a managed packaged or an iframe, in certain applications where it makes sense. We talked about Fury Launchpad or about C4C or those kinds of elements. But also, I mean, any element within PriceFX can be invoked in terms of connecting to that specific process because of the nature of being, architected in a headless fashion. So there's some real benefits in terms of either being able to be implemented in more of an iframe or managed package component versus taking advantage of the headless architecture to be able to make different kinds of API calls depending on what the need is.
Great. Thank you, Garth, and thank you, Tapos, for that answer. Moving on to the next question, and maybe this is more so for Garth. Does PriceFX's modules embed artificial intelligence in terms of recommendations of pricing? And moreover, how does PriceFX manage campaigns and promotions?
Yeah, so I'll start with that one as well. So the question, as I hear that, is really kind of focusing around the optimization in how we utilize AI and machine learning. And so what I would say when we talk about Price Optimizer is we really do have the most advanced optimization capabilities on the market today in terms of being able to take a novel approach to AI using a multi-agent approach. And that's something that we could probably talk about for a good 30 to 45 minutes. But the short answer is we do take a very, what I'd say, a white box or clear box approach to optimization. So we can certainly utilize any number of different kinds of optimization algorithms depending on what's required by the customer or for the specific optimization need to answer that question. In addition, if our customers prefer to use an external type of a solver in order to do their optimization, they could do that and bring in the optimization as an input to the system. But kind of regardless of the AI machine learning technique that's being utilized within PriceFX, in addition, we also do have the capability to do constraining both before and after the optimization component. There's always some sort of business process kind of hierarchies that customers are interested in maintaining or other business rules that we want to continue to maintain, in addition to being able to target optimization of different elements of the waterfall. Hopefully that answered the question. I'm not sure if that covered it, or if anybody else wants to build on that. I'm going to go with that was a great answer.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Garth. Moving on to the next question. Can you please provide any success stories for our pricing solutions for automotive industry and some details about the percentage of increase in revenue of profit after using the solution?
Yeah, sure. So, I'm not going to go through a full case study on the phone here. Automotive, as I mentioned, PriceFX has a really great experience in really all key sectors. And when you think about, discrete manufacturing, process manufacturing, distributors, services, even retail or omni-channel, all on the same platform, all the same code base, just configured changes to each one of those customers. Thinking back to one of our earliest customers is a little automotive company called Bosch, being a company that really originated or was founded in Europe, but also has a lot of success across the world in Americas and APAC. We do have a number of automotive products, including large automotive aftermarket companies like Bosch, like Adelphi Automotive. There's quite a few others that we could point to. I can't, on this specific webinar, give you any specific ROI numbers. A third one that I would utilize that I believe we might even have a case study for, and Matt will keep me honest, on the PriceFX website, or if we don't, I'm sure we will very soon, would be Cox Automotive is a nice one. Even though it's not an automotive manufacturer, it's in the automotive transportation space where this is an example of a company that very effectively utilized our optimization to see some major improvements. So whether you're thinking of automotive from OEM to parts to distribution, there's really a lot of benefit there. And I'm sure we could follow up and have a more direct call if anybody's interested in having that discussion.
Great. Thank you very much, Garth. And then just to piggyback off of that, a few questions ago when we were speaking about integration, someone asked, are we talking about API or some other form of integration?
I would say API, but I don't know if Tapos or one of the Cognitus folks wants to join in on that.
Yeah, so we have two kinds of integration. The one that takes you directly to the PriceFX module, we are using iframe integration, and then underlying, authentication is done using SAML. And then for the custom tiles, we are using, API, the REST API on the PriceFX side, and we are using OData services on the SAP.
Great. Thank you, Tapos, for that. And then the next question, will we receive records of the session or a copy of the slideshow? Yes, absolutely. As soon as the session has concluded, it will be made available on demand. So you can expect that to come as soon as the session is concluded. And if you have any questions in addition to that recording, just feel free to reach out to me. Moving forward, how does PriceFX manage product segmentation and discounts, if you can touch on that?
Yeah, sure. When we think about segmentation, again, there's a couple of different ways you can approach this. Think of this as either a business segmentation, the kinds of hierarchies that customers might maintain in their customer master or product master, or that it might even be extended within a product or customer extension table within PriceFX. You can design these kinds of what I call business segmentations. But also, in addition to that, as I mentioned, when you think about our optimization or optimizer tool set, one of the key components of that is more of what we call a scientific segmentation. So you'd go through kind of a regression process to do sort of a clustering or a branch type segmentation, if you're familiar with those techniques, where we're looking at different types of data that we bring in from SAP and potentially from some other systems, identify the significant attributes, and then the PriceFX system will recommend what it believes to be the optimal segmentation balance there under again certain constraints. So you'll look at things like cardinality rules or minimum transaction rules, kind of minimum segment rules. You don't want to have 1,000 segments or something that becomes unmanageable or not meaningful. Again, kind of going back to the concept from whether it's segmentation or optimization of making sure that it's transparent, believable, defendable, reliable. Those kinds of concepts. The segmentation in principle is focused on an optimizer. If it's something that I can't describe to the sales team in about 10 words or less, then it's something that they will not have a ton of confidence using, regardless of how good it is. So we definitely take pride in terms of our ability to do segmentation within the system, to be able to apply a lot of really great statistical or pricing science techniques to that from an automation perspective, but also. As always, kind of in that transparent or clear box approach, the customer doesn't need PriceFX to ever make changes to any of that. It's always under their control. It doesn't require us to come in and fix things at any time. Any kind of sequencing within the attributes of whether which one's more important or should be included or excluded at the end of the day is the customer's decision, based on a lot of powerful pricing science and recommendations provided by the system.
Great. Thank you, Garth. And sorry, I'm going to have to pound you with just one more. How does PriceFX manage the price of new material, whereas there's no sales history? So brand new product, and they would like to bring it to market.
Yeah, that's always an interesting question. So one of the I'll break that into a couple of pieces. One of the concerns sometimes is, well, there's no product master that's been established for that. So how can I even price that out? Or I just think of that on the master data perspective. And so we have customers that will utilize, think of them as like dummy products or those kinds of things. There are a number of solutions that we can take in order to kind of bridge the way that works between you having something that's officially in the ERP system from a new product SKU or product code. Another way to think about this is, I'd say, we do have a number of customers that, virtually 100%, if not 100% of the products that they're selling are configured products. So there's no pre-existing SKUs. It's all made to order. So in those cases, we're walking through a variety of different kinds of configuration components on the fly that invokes different pricing logic that does get them to an end price. And our customers that go down that path, typically once the product has been configured and kind of all the costing and profit models are completed and agreed to within PriceFX, that final price and any other configuration details are sent over into SAP, and an actual product SKU is created. But just the third thing, and I'm probably answering this in an overkill kind of way, if we just think of a standard B2B way of I want to introduce a new product, you can always, again, this is where things like analytics can be very useful, where we can compare a new product to peer products. Kind of think of this as a sponsorship model of looking at similar products and maybe making some determinations around difference in value. In fact, one of the newest capabilities within PriceFX is utilizing these kinds of these kinds of value relationships, EVA style analysis, economic value analysis, in terms of understanding what's the delta between an existing product and the value drivers or a competitive product. So that might even be a third or fourth way to think about that. So hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you, Garth. A few more questions here. It was mentioned that third-party platforms can be integrated. Which other platform other than SAP are we talking about?
Sure. So really, I mean, we do think of PriceFX as a platform. So SAP is a very important component of that. Again, typically talking about being a system of record for transactional history and master data and a lot of other details. Outside of the SAP world, we will commonly, think of somebody in the chemicals or process space where we're ingesting data from like an IHS Markit, ICIS, or Platts, one of these kind of third-party providers of market index data, raw materials forecasting data. That kind of thing can be really important in the process or manufacturing space. Also, we'll commonly see, we'll have APIs that are connecting either directly to screen scrapers or companies that are bringing competitive intelligence or competitive data. So in cases where we see customers that do have availability, maybe think of a high tech or electronics parts distributor, we'll frequently look at third-party data, competitive screen scraping or website aggregators that are looking at invoking or pegging rules based on that. So those are two small examples there, but there's any number of different kinds of data sources depending on the industry and customer. It usually falls into the categories of, again, kind of providing richer analytics, being an element that's required for good price setting, or being something that's utilized in one of these other modules in an effective way from like optimization or other reference data.
Great, thank you, Garth. And just piggybacking off of that, in terms of scalability, like adding new forecasting or machine learning algorithms or predictive analytics, how easy is it to customize a PriceFX solution in terms of adding new pieces such as the forecasting or machine learning algorithms or predictive analytics?
Yeah, sure. I'll just start off by saying that customize is a word I never like to use. I always prefer the word customization or configuration versus customization. I just draw the distinction when we talk about customization that might indicate that there's some additional coding that's being done. We're never, we're never making individual changes to the PriceFX platform for individual customer deployments. It's just configuration changes. Not to pick on that or anything, just to draw a clear distinction. But whether we're talking about adding, additional optimization, different ways of thinking about optimization, different algorithms to a current deployment of Price Optimizer, or whether it's adding an additional capability where we are already doing price setting and analytics and quoting, but want to add optimization on top of that. From a scalability perspective, I mean, we're highly scalable, and that's not an issue. It's a very scalable and extensible in terms of what we're able to do from kind of more of an IT perspective, and maybe the Cognizance guys can jump in on that as well. But being a SaaS application, as our customers grow, as they go from maybe covering a certain amount of their business to additional divisions to global deployments, being able to scale up from really that support aspect, I guess, is one of the benefits of PriceFX. You're not having to deal with any of the hardware issues or those kinds of things. So that kind of IT scaling is really a benefit of the product or the platform. From a business scaling, adding additional modules, it's just a matter of detailing the statement of work, or if it's adding additional ways of thinking around the optimization. It kind of depends on what the concept there is, but certainly adding additional optimization elements from our library is not a significant task.
Great, thank you. And we just have a few more questions to touch on here. Does PriceFX have simulations and what-if scenarios to support campaign management, as well as how does it manage forecasting?
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure what the term campaign basket selection means, but when we think of, we do have simulation of what-if scenarios. So you do have the ability to simulate changes before you put them out into the wild. From a price setting perspective, I'll say you can simulate things like kind of like a margin change or cost allocation changes, simulate that and understand what the implication is before you move those along. If we're thinking about this in more of like a promotion simulation, we do within optimization have the ability to do promotion optimization that runs kind of multiple optimizations that would look at different usages of promotion dollars or different allocations to different programs, for example.
Great, thank you. Let's see. Yeah, how does PriceFX help in terms of campaign basket selections? If you could just clarify what you mean by campaign basket selections, and we'll be happy to answer that question. We have about 5 minutes left and not seeing any additional questions coming through. So I would like to take this time to wrap up and thank everyone for attending. Any additional questions you have, please feel free to reach out to me and we'll be sure to address those. For example, especially with the automotive example,